The snow was falling harder than anyone expected that night. The roads were slick, the wind howled through the empty streets, and most people had already made it home except one man. Ethan Blake, a single dad and CEO of a growing tech company, was driving back from a late meeting when his headlights caught a small figure by the roadside. A woman, shivering in the snow, clutching two tiny babies wrapped in thin blankets. He almost kept driving until one of the babies started crying. That sound would change his life forever. Hey everyone, before we dive into this heart-touching story, don't forget to hit that button, give this video and share your thoughts in the below. We love hearing your stories about kindness and second chances. You're rewatching where real-life stories remind us that good hearts still exist in this world. Ethan slowed his car and pulled over, wipers fighting the heavy snow. The woman looked terrified, her face red from the cold, her arms trembling as she held her crying babies close. He rolled down his window just enough to speak. "Hey, are you okay? You shouldn't be out here, it's freezing." The woman's lips quivered. "Please," she said softly. "My car, it broke down. I tried calling for help, but my phone died. I didn't know where else to go." Ethan noticed the small sedan behind her, half buried in snow. The hazard lights were barely flashing. Without thinking twice, he got out and helped her into his warm SUV. The babies were crying harder now, their cheeks pink from the cold. Ethan turned up the heat and handed her his scarf. "Thank you," she whispered, her voice weak. "I didn't think anyone would stop." He looked at her. She couldn't have been more than 30, dressed in hospital scrubs under her coat. "You're a nurse?" he asked. She nodded, wiping her eyes. "Yeah. I was coming home from a double shift." Ethan didn't know it then, but this woman, her name was Mara, had just lost everything that day. The drive to the nearest diner was silent except for the wind outside and the soft breathing of the babies, now asleep. When they arrived, Ethan insisted on buying her something warm to eat. She hesitated, but hunger won. Over hot coffee and soup, Mara told him her story. Her husband had passed away from a sudden illness 6 months earlier. He'd been the family's main support, and after medical bills piled up, she was drowning in debt. She'd been working night shifts just to keep food on the table for her twin girls. Then, that same day, she got a notice from her landlord. She had until the end of the week to leave their apartment. No savings, no family nearby, and no one to watch the twins while she worked. When her car broke down in that storm, she felt like it was the universe's cruel way of saying she'd finally lost. "I just didn't know what to do," Mara said, her eyes filling with tears. "I've been trying so hard to stay strong for them, but I don't think I can anymore." Ethan felt something stir in his chest. He knew that feeling of helplessness all too well. The years earlier, when Ethan's wife died after giving birth to their son, he'd been just as lost. Running a company, raising a baby, trying to keep it together, it nearly broke him. The only thing that saved him was the kindness of a nurse who had helped him through those dark days, and now, sitting across from him was another nurse, alone and scared, just trying to survive. He couldn't walk away. "Listen," he said gently. "You can't go back out there tonight. There's a small inn near my place. I'll cover the room for a few nights until you figure things out." Mara shook her head. "No, I can't accept that. You've done enough." But Ethan smiled. "It's not charity. It's kindness. Someday, you'll pass it on." Tears rolled down her cheeks. "Thank you. I don't even know your name." "Ethan," he said, offering his hand. "And those two beautiful girls, what are their names?" "Lily and Emma," she said softly, looking down at her babies. That night, Ethan drove her to the inn, helped carry the sleeping twins inside, and made sure the room was warm. Before he left, he gave her his business card. "If you need anything, food, baby supplies, whatever, call me." "I mean it." She promised she would, but for the next few days, Ethan couldn't stop thinking about her. He checked in on her later that week, bringing some groceries and diapers. The twins giggled when they saw him, reaching their tiny hands toward his beard. Mara laughed for the first time in what felt like months. That sound, her laughter, brought warmth back into the cold winter of his heart. They started talking more. She told him about nursing school, about how she used to dream of becoming a pediatric nurse but couldn't afford the tuition. He told her about his son, Jacob, who was 7 now and missed having someone to bake cookies with. Before long, Mara met Jacob and the boy adored her instantly. Weeks turned into months. Ethan helped her find a better apartment closer to the hospital. He connected her with a childcare program his company sponsored. In return, she helped him learn how to slow down, how to be present again. She brought life and laughter back into his home and his heart, but what Ethan didn't realize was that Mara had been quietly looking for a way to repay him. One night, he came home late from work, exhausted and pale. He brushed it off as stress, but Mara noticed something wasn't right. When he nearly fainted the next morning, she rushed him to the hospital just in time. He'd been ignoring symptoms of severe exhaustion and a minor heart issue that could have gotten much worse. "You saved my life," Ethan told her from his hospital bed. Mara smiled. "Guess we're even now." But they both knew it was more than that. By the time spring came, the snow had melted, and so had the walls they'd built around their hearts. Ethan realized that sometimes, kindness doesn't just save someone else's life, it gives you back your own. One afternoon, as they watched their kids playing together at the park, Ethan turned to her. "You know," he said, "I stopped that night because I thought I was helping you. But I think you're the one who helped me." Mara smiled softly. "Maybe we helped each other." A year later, that same park became the setting for a small, simple wedding. Ethan, the single dad CEO who thought he'd never love again, married Mara, the nurse who had once been stranded in a snowstorm with her twin babies. Their children, Jacob, Lily, and Emma, ran around laughing, tossing petals into the air as the pastor spoke about faith, love, and the power of kindness. Everyone who knew their story said it sounded like a miracle. But to them, it was just two broken people finding warmth in a cold world. Kindness doesn't always come wrapped in grand gestures. Sometimes, it's a warm car on a freezing night, a meal shared with a stranger, or a hand offered when someone's at their lowest. Ethan stopped his car that night thinking he was helping a stranger survive the storm. But that act of kindness became the start of a new family, a new beginning, and a reminder that one small choice can ripple through countless lives. So next time you see someone struggling, remember, you never know what they're carrying, or how your kindness might change everything, because sometimes, the greatest miracles begin with a simple act of compassion.